and welcome to another Warhammer Workshop preview review. My name is Amy, and I am here with my very good friend JF. JF, good morning.
Hello, and Ben Herrick. It'll make sense later.
Yeah. Preview day. Very exciting.
Was it? Like, I wasn't...
We weren't ready. This could have been anything. We had some trepidations about this one.
This is the thing, because we are coming towards the end of the known codex list.
Yeah.
Like we've seen the roadmap, and the next two codexes on the roadmap are World Eaters and Astra Militarum. So we know those are on the horizon. But after that, it's just a great void of we don't know. And obviously, well, actually, probably since last year, people have been like saying, "Oh, 10th edition," and I have famously said I do not want another edition. I want them to iterate on this edition, and I don't want to go back to doing codexes. The line of codexes I have behind me is too big already. I want it to get bigger, not have to toss it and start over.
Yeah.
So the problem is, as much as I hate believing quote-unquote sources, because they're usually wrong, this is kind of like par for the course for the life cycle of the game. And even though I don't feel like we've had 9th edition for that long, part of the reason for that is we've had 2 solid years of it in a pandemic and in a lockdown.
Yeah.
So, no, it has been there for a long time. We just haven't been playing it much.
Right.
So it felt very plausible that we would get a 10th edition tease or announcement. And especially the way they started the preview, just going back and said, "This is 1st edition, this is what's 2nd edition." Like, just doing the entire Warhammer community article again. It just, I could almost hear Adam get to the end of it, but what's next?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, I don't. What I want to be next is more cool new armies, not just the same rethreaded book with a couple new models for old armies. I want new models for old armies.
Yeah. I don't
But
want to
not new
look
books.
at my army and go, well, I guess I'll shelve it again. like let's see what I can get a codex for. I don't like that game. It's not a fun game.
No, it's not. I say, let me put this as a threat to Games Workshop. It is what makes me look at other games. If you don't want me to cheat on you, 40K, and yeah, maybe I'll cheat on you with your sister, our Age of Sigmar, and maybe you're cool with that because it stays in the family. I'm not straying too far.
Yikes.
Weird of you, I know, but once I start looking at the neighbors and their models,
It's a problem.
it's not my best analogy so far.
It's not great.
It's not perfect.
But yeah, that's not what we got. That is not what we got at all. Yeah. So let's dive in. Because the first thing we got, we knew was coming sooner or later. And that is the new Astra Militarum army box.
I low-key wanted them to push them back a little bit more.
There's another brand new
And now it's like,
faction.
oh, there's surprise. Here's Codex Codex Exodite, sometime before Astra Militarum, and just slowly feel the seething rage of the IG players all over the
Cadia
world.
waits forever.
Cadia waits. Like, why do you want a codex? You don't even have a planet anymore.
So this box, as they've been doing for most armies now, it will come with 20 Cadian shock troops, a command squad, a field ordnance battery, and a sentinel, along with
otherwise known to us followers of the Forearm God as just more Gene Stealer calls.
Yeah. They are, well, not for me, and that's fine. I do appreciate how lovely these models are compared to their predecessors. And who doesn't love a big old battlefield artillery? It's a good time.
Here's what I like about this battlefield artillery.
Yeah.
And still have to see the size of them.
100 mil bases.
But here's the thing. They look like they are about the right size to replace some mech heavy weapons for, because if you're an orc player, you'll know that the those heavy weapon platforms aren't cheap, and they're one a box. These look like they're about 3 a box.
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly 3 in the core box.
So, little modifications here, a couple conversion there. Buy a box of Gretchens to populate around them, and maybe you just saved almost $100.
Sentinels can be built as either scouts or armored. They're real cute. I like a sentinel.
I love sentinels, but the way I get my sentinel fix is by doing dragoons, Sidonian dragoons for AdMechs. Mm-hmm. Expensive models, but they're the same thing. Yeah.
We also have a new commissar, and as they pointed out in the stream this morning, whereas most commissars are like on the front line, pointing their sword, drive me closer, let me stab them. This guy definitely looks like he's in the back line, making sure that you do not turn around and run.
What I like about this model is, in a way, it's very un-Games Workshop.
Yeah.
First of all, like the proportions for this entire range seem to be a lot more realistic. Like the heads are more proportioned to the bodies. Yeah. They look more normal. They're still a little heroic size, quote unquote. But this guy is better proportioned than what we're used to. He's also a lot simpler than what we're used to. Like, there's no, like, doesn't have like 2 banners and a bunch of purity seals. He doesn't have a collection of skulls and teeth hanging from his belt. Like, he's clean, simple, disciplined.
Yeah.
So neat.
Yeah. And then, in addition to the army box, there will be, as always, more stuff. And one of the more stuffs that's coming is a new heavy weapons team, which, a bunch of dudes, real fun.
Yeah. They're a favorite of the Imperial Guard players I face because they're versatile.
Yeah. So one of the things that they did talk about in the stream is how the way you build your guard army is going to change or can change. Which this is something we've seen across all of the armies, right? It's you can play whatever you want to play. So as long as they're all guard, you can mix them together. You know,
but this is particularly brilliant for Imperial Guard in the sense that before, like they said, like let's say you're doing Vostroyan or Vostroyans, they all had to be Vostroyans.
Right.
Which means you need to collect Vostroyan models. Which means that if you're doing Vostroyan, you're not buying anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for the Chaos Demons, right? Like, before it was you kind of picked one and went with it. And now it's mix and match.
Yeah. But I'm looking at it from, say, a production and sales perspective on their part, that they were basically trying to support multiple armies, some with special kits, and that were still metal. And like it got very confusing, and it's very hard to project who's going to get what. Like, you sell a certain number of codexes, you don't know how that's going to split amongst the different regiments that people want. But by doing it like this, they can just put out regimental kits or even conversion kits, as we've seen them do more and more. And people can have Catachan and Cadians and the other whatever, like Talarn, all in the same army, depending on where you want to specialize. It sort of levels the wave of distribution for their models, which from a marketing and sales perspective is probably a relief for them. And it allows them to be able to say, yeah, we're gonna do all of these things in plastic, because now none of them are a special corner case production.
Right. So we kind of knew that was coming, and we knew that, like, because that's the last of the announced codexes. Like, we already know that World Eaters is coming, so that was the last of the announced codexes. And so it was the what's coming next for Warhammer 40k, and
And sources say it's going to be 10th edition.
Yeah, well, sources were not right. So here's the thing. We all remember Psychic Awakening. It was not terrific. Some people liked it more than others, but it got...
I mean, if you're a fan of, Space Marine Primaris lieutenants and special characters for Space Marines, that was heaven.
I'm buying books for 2 rules. So here's what's coming, and this is a thing that we have talked about on more than one occasion in the various platforms in which you and I yell about Warhammer. They're doing
do a lot of that.
A big campaign, and it is outside of matched play. So if you are a matched play player and this does not interest you, you do not have to pay attention. That's fine. You can let this one go by. But if you are us, this is very exciting. So this is the Arcs of Omen. As we know, in Kill Team, we've been exploring some space hulks out there in the voids of space. And interestingly, whereas on the Age of Sigmar side, we talked about this recently, how they are taking the, both Underworlds and Warcry are sort of in the same setting at the moment. Now 40K is joining Kill Team in its setting, which was an interesting move.
It's, in a way, it's so logical. It feels stupid that they haven't been doing it before, and it makes me feel, as a member of the community that is big into predicting things, makes me feel stupid for not suggesting it earlier. But the thing is, like, they tend to, and I think they flirted with the idea in the past when they were coming out with different sets of scenery, with this idea of like, oh, we're doing Muniturum stuff.
Yeah.
It's all going to be Muniturum, and the rules that we're going to release for this terrain is going to be Muniturum rules.
Right.
But that's about as far as they got.
Yep.
Meanwhile, with this allows them to say, like they said right now, it's like, we've got Kill Team Gallow Dark scenery. Well, you're going to be able to use this scenery in your 40K games. And you're going to be able to use the same thematics. And so being able to say, all right, this year or this year and a half, the next 18 months are Space Hulk for 40K, Space Hulk for Kill Team, Space Hulk, Space Hulk, Space Hulks. And because of that, you can use all the scenery that we're putting out for the next few months, and all of it's interchangeable, and you can flip some units from one game to the other with more ease, meaning that you don't have to feel like playing Kill Team is a separate experience from playing Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
That's great marketing.
So, as you said, the idea is that there's bad stuff on space hulks. We know this, and Abaddon is trying to sort of make a play to take over the universe, not like Horus did, but all on his own. Well, not all on his own, because he's going to need help, which is at the end, and I'm going to somehow contain my excitement.
You need to keep it together for another little while while we get through this. I saw how fast you rushed through the Astra Militarum stuff, and I get it. Keep it together.
Okay.
So, a little comment about Abaddon.
Yeah.
Adam and Ed were all about, Abaddon. He's not like his Horus. He's not doing it with other Chaos things. Abaddon is what I would politely call a little bitch, because he's all about, I'm doing this by myself. But Abaddon's actual MO, if you look at his entire thing, is Dad got his ass kicked on Terra. I ran away to the Chaos Gods in the Eye of Terror, where they reside. Mm-hmm. He went to the Chaos God gated community to hide. And then his method, his MO to be able to conquer the galaxy is, well, I'm going to find a magic sword. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to find really powerful Blackstone fortresses, and I'm going to use those. And now he lost one of his Blackstone fortress destroying Cadia, so he's like, oh no, I need another super weapon so I can be independent and do this on my own. So he runs to this unknown entity to, like, I want to do this on my own. Can you help? with Space Hulks.
It's every article about a millionaire entrepreneur at age 23.
Yes, it's Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see, I'll revolutionize the galaxy with this new thing I invented. They're called Blackstone Fortresses. I made them on my own.
Yep. So yeah, they're calling this a self-contained expansion, which is cool. This is what we wanted because we are afraid of book bloat. We're not fans. This particular piece of art caught my attention because that thing in the background with the Zinchi heads, I don't know what's happening, but I'm into it.
It's got a lot of legs, some
Yep.
mechadendrites.
Yep.
It looks like someone crashed 3 Heldrakes together and didn't bother untangling them.
Yeah,
it's like, they're good.
Yeah, just leave it. So we're getting books, but what else does this mean? We're also getting a train set called Boarding Action. So this is like round 1, right? This is basically 2 kill team boxes worth of terrain and board. So if you happen to have 2 kill team boxes, you are all set. Otherwise, you can pick this up. And this is designed for combat patrol size games. This is going to be tight.
This is the part where I feel like the actual campaign book, and this is kind of the quote unquote genius of how they're doing this. The idea is like, all right, we're going to have these close quarter things, and here's some close quarter terrain. In the olden days, that would have been kind of it. It's like, well, I mean, if you don't have a close quarter army, how? Sorry, you're done. You're dead. But it stands to figure that the campaign book, will have rules that sort of equalize these things.
Right, but I mean, you're also not. It's sort of like, you know how in Age of Sigmar they do seasonal rules that give certain units buffs, like certain kinds of units buffs, right? Like I think right now we're doing big stompy monsters, I believe, or that was the last one, I forget. This is sort of like that, right? Like sniper's not super handy at the moment, but it's a 500-point game. So if you are a collector, chances are you have 500 points of something that is not that. This also feels like a really good next step once you've played through a crusade. All right, well now we're going to play this campaign. And let's go. And who knows what's going to come next.
The campaign that lets you use a bunch of tanks.
Right.
And transports.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see something that really emphasizes transports.
Isn't that Ash Wastes?
Yeah, but I don't see myself bringing a bunch of devilfish to Ash Wastes.
Fair.
I have a bunch of devilfish, though.
So if you're unfamiliar with what this terrain looks like, it's a lot of walls with various and sundry things on it, which in Kill Team, the various and sundry things do stuff. Like there are different there's comms panels and light switches and doors and all kinds of things. There will be rules for things like boarding actions. As we said, you won't have access to vehicles or monsters, but this is going to be pretty good. And it's especially good for like stuff that maybe you like that doesn't play so well when you're just like out in the fields of battle on some random planet somewhere.
Well, I have a question. Did they say you wouldn't have access to things like monsters?
It says it in the article, so no vehicles.
I would like to see rules for monsters, how some monsters can tear down a wall.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that's the next book.
That would be interesting. I could see that, like a stratagem, and I know I keep moaning and complaining about stratagems, but this would be an interesting stratagem.
This is
where
self-contained, though.
Yeah, but a stratagem that says like once per battle for 2 CPs, a model with the monster keyword can remove 1 piece of wall.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I mean, yeah, like you can see from the map, like, oh, his unit's on the other side of this wall. 2 CPs, remove that wall, monster. I mean, there's a lot of fun to be had with that.
All the pictures of this stuff make me want to get like a small fog machine that I can just have like small fog rolling through.
Just buy some dry ice.
Yeah. We're also getting
corner store stuff.
Something we haven't gotten for 40k in a hot second, which is a box of bases. And they are the Space Hulk floor bases, and they come with little greeblies and things you can add, which is nice. I'm a fan. Like, I mean, I know not everybody loves that, and I'm a basing person, so I like making my own bases. But these look really nice, and like they said on the stream, you know, quick spray and some dry brush, and you've got some pretty sweet looking bases.
Yeah. So the problem I have with these things is always the same. Is that Games Workshop has moved to a format that has so many weird shaped bases.
True.
Like a lot of little ovals, a lot of different sizes for the round bases. And to me, that's a problem. And I feel like this particular thing, bases, should be where Games Workshop dips its first toes into the 3D printing market. I don't think they should do it for models. The technology is not there yet in the scales that they need it to be. I don't care what people say. No. I have this model and it does perfect figs, and then you see the pictures like, yeah, they're pretty good, but like they can't be printing 1 fig an hour.
Yeah.
And then having someone remove all the supports and then cure them. Like it's a thing.
Yeah.
But if Games Workshop would have some STLs of bases like that, of different, like of all the shapes and sizes that they need, and just not even sell them, just say, we can sell you the STLs, or they're part of the Warhammer Plus subscription. I feel that would be a good place. That would be a good way of, you know, just trying out, seeing how the market works, where they can monetize, where they don't monetize, and the thing is, like, even if I have a bit of lining from the resolution of a printer on basis, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And then it's dependent on, like, does it look good? Does it look not good? Well, that depends on my printer or the printer of whoever I exploit to print my bases for me.
Yes.
Shout out to Phil, my brother, who has been extremely generous printing a bunch of bases for me. So. I mean, these look cool, and I like the fact that they're including a bunch of gribblies to not just have just the texture, but then you can sort of play around.
Yeah.
No tactical rock, though.
No, we're out of rocks. No rocks on the Space Hulk. I'm surprised there's no, like, tactical I-beams. Well.
True. Well,
speaking of tactical I-beams.
Yes, there we go.
So, Kill Team. It's 2 Kill Team boxes worth of terrain for this campaign that we're playing. So what if we had a new Kill Team box? Kill Team Shadowvaults. It's the next iteration in the Gallo Dark. I guess I'm going to call it the Gallo Dark series because we're just on the Gallo Dark, right? Like.
Yeah, is Gallo Dark season, I suppose.
More Space Hulk terrain for you to play with. The 2 teams that we've got. Oh, look, it's more Astra Militarum.
And today I learned how to pronounce those guys' name. I used to call him Karskin, but it's Kasarskin? Kasarakin.
Yeah.
I said I learned, but clearly I didn't.
I don't. I mean, it's fine.
It's those dudes.
Yeah, so they're elites. They come with a whole bunch of parts. You can build them, which is how these Kill Team teams have kind of gone. You can go, oops, all cool guys, or...
Well, you say that, but I was going to ask about the second team.
All right. So let's talk about the second team, because the second team is Necrons with tactical
A lot fewer Necrons.
A lot fewer Necrons. We don't know a ton about this box yet because this is all they've shown us, but if tradition serves, there will be a few ways to build these guys. But you've got like your Cryptech, and you've got your Cryptech in training. The little Plasmacyte are adorable.
And much like Squig Bombs and other small models, the Plasmacytes are something that I feel you should be able to have access to more models in your army.
Yeah.
Because you can use them for different units, I believe, but I think they only come with 1 or 2 units.
Yeah. I like the one that's like climbing up the I-beam. He's great.
They're adorable.
They're real good.
That's a problem with Necron. Like a lot of their stuff is just cute.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the aesthetic they want.
They definitely are cute. Like,
we are terror from ancient times. but so adorable.
Aww.
I just want to pinch its tendrils.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
So these guys are up against each other. There's another little something special in this box. There are robots.
I'm surprised they call them robots. I thought they would go for automatons or something that doesn't hint at the possibility of abominable intelligence.
So there's like one with a saw blade and one with heavy bolters, and there are apparently rules for how to use these in your game, which this is like kind of something we talked about at one point. It's sort of that like autonomous part of the game that also does things, so that's fun.
It's one of the weird things though about these situations where these are clearly of Imperial design, and I have it's so strange to think of, say, the Necrons, like, oh, we're going into the Gallowdark Space Hulk and we're going to explore it for some resources or things to enslave. I don't know what they're doing there.
Artifacts. They're looking for artifacts.
Yeah, and then they stumble across these robots and think, oh, we have this that we can use as an advantage. But being that they are tens of thousands of years more advanced than these things, that would be like us going into the Gallowdark and just finding a rock and saying, all right, there's the tech we need, a rock. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel, it feels weird.
Well, but we also don't know, because we don't know what the rules are, so we don't know that it's necessarily, like, they're just there. Like, it's not necessarily the Necrons being like, hey, this is a thing. It's just like, oh, well, this gun turret happens to be sitting in this corner. That's going to be a problem for everyone.
What I would like is if these are slaves to the Gallowdark itself.
That's what I'm saying. It's just part of the...
Maybe that's why they're robots and not just equipment.
Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. And they said it's coming soon.
Yeah, they're cute.
Coming soon. Coming soon. We also got the final preview. Well, not final preview? Another preview.
No, I don't.
Whatever.
Unless they said it's the final preview. I hope
now.
It's not, because that's going to be a very small codex.
Yeah. So we've got Lord Invocatus of the World Eaters on his little juggernaut with a chain sword horn, I guess.
Chain horn. Just a badass unicorn.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of a play on the classic Corn Lord on a juggernaut from the way back times, but less dumpy looking.
I remember in 2003, I was at the Toronto conflict, where Vincent Hudon won the Slayer Sword with his converted and incredibly well painted Lord on Juggernaut. And I remember that thing just blew everyone away. It was one of those. It was back in the dawn of object source lighting. He had this lava base. He was doing some of the rare non-metallic metallics that looked cool and not just cartoony.
Yeah.
It was an amazing piece. And now, like, they're coming out with this model that just makes that piece of art look like, oh yeah, that is dumpy looking. Yeah.
I think my favorite thing they said about this one was, sometimes it's not just about running at something with a chainsword. Sometimes it's about riding something towards the enemy with a chainsword.
I mean, look, that's a very corn thing to say.
Oh yeah.
Jeez, I am not gonna do World Eaters.
No,
I'm not.
They're
I swear.
Cool,
not gonna do it.
It's fine. And so then that was the end of the preview, right? That was the end of the preview. That was the end of the preview. They thanked Raph and the moderators and everybody. And that was the end of the preview.
Yeah, and then you could feel the spirit of Steve Jobs just permeate the place.
A cheeky preview, he called it.
Cheeky.
It was cheeky.
In it.
It was so cheeky. It was so cheeky. All right, so...
I'm just going to turn off my microphone and let you go on for the next 30 minutes.
No, come back.
good.
So this is a screenshot from the video that you captured. If you go to the Warhammer community site, like if you don't feel like watching the whole preview, if you fast forward to about an hour and 17 minutes and just sort of get through their little thanks to you all for coming, you can watch the video. So there's a lot of creepy machine whispers, which are always good. As you can see, there's a lot of wires,
bips and glitz,
and servo skulls. We all know my feeling on servo skulls. And the tagline at the end of the video, there's a couple of other things, but we'll get to that. The tagline at the end of the video is "Darkness made metal," and I lost my mind.
I think like you're in Massachusetts, I'm in Quebec, and I think I heard you over it. It's like, oh well, I guess someone's happy.
Yeah.
But now you're gonna have to find a way to move somewhere where you can play more than one game a year. Like you can't, like if you're gonna have your dream army made quote unquote flesh, plastic, metal, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, for a sec, like maybe they're just going back to doing metals. Maybe they're just this isn't what you think it's gonna be. Maybe what this is just Games Workshop saying, cost of plastic is high. We're just gonna go back to
lead,
figs.
though.
Yeah, we're going back to lead. Society's given up. We're just going to poison everyone.
Try not to lick them too much. All right, so these are the screenshots that were provided to us on the Warhammer community article. Along with their little "I've come to make you an offer."
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen a few of these previews. Like there's a little clawed hand on the red backgrounded photo that we've seen in one of the what do they call them? The what do they call them on Mondays when we get the little teaser images? I can't remember.
Rumor engine.
Yeah, rumor engine.
Yeah.
So we've definitely seen that clawed hand in a rumor engine before.
We see a lot of clawed hands in the rumor engines, to be fair.
That one specifically.
Yeah, right.
There seems to be sort of a skull face. Who knows? All right, so
like a dog skull face.
Yeah, like the war dog, chaos. It looks like that one, right, from the Chaos Knights.
It does. It absolutely does.
Yeah. So I think my dream of getting the Dark Mechanicum is finally gonna happen, and I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah, you rejoice.
I did. When I got dressed this morning, getting ready to do this preview review, I put on my "Glory and Praise to the Machine God" T-shirt. I manifested
show the people. Show the people
your. I can't see it on this camera. It's not fine. But I put it on and manifested, and I am very happy that I did. I can't imagine what else this could be, right? Like
what I'm getting is that what you're saying is next time they do a preview, I need to wear an Exite codpiece to manifest that army.
Exactly.
Tassels and little gems.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this is it. This is all the information we have gotten.
It's enough.
Oh yeah, I like the way they did the article. They did the article as if it was like hacked, which it's dumb and I love it. I don't care.
This looks almost ARG-esque in the way that like the little text is sort of hidden in other text and all that stuff, and that's great. Let's try to look at this in the most conservative, pessimistic prediction.
All right, so
I am going to burst your bubble so that you can calm down.
Is it gonna though? Because there's a lot of scenarios in which I still wind up happy.
Because all the scenarios you wind up happy because this is clearly going in a direction that you like. This is the stuff that you've been wanting to do for a while, and I fully believe that you are going to get at least a cursory version of that.
At least more demon engines.
But here's the thing: like this could be just this is a new army. The same way they did Adeptus Mechanicus. Here are the Dark Mechanicum because that's what we're hinting, and this is a full range. Here's your codex, here's your army set, here's your base troops and your HQs and your big show centerpiece models.
Yes.
Or, which is also very likely, but also exciting in a way, Chaos already has a bunch of demon engines.
Oh yeah.
What this could be, because they previewed this mostly as part of the whole campaign thing. And maybe this is just, here's a character with a cool model, and that character has his own bespoke army list that is just...
like an army of renown?
Yeah, it's an army of renown, and they're all Chaos engines.
I'm fine with that.
They're all demon engines, but that's the thing. That's still cool. This is still something that you would enjoy, but that is the conservative version of what this could be.
I mean, I could also see,
honestly,
like, we've been seeing an awful lot of upgrade sprues of late. So if you just put out an upgrade sprue for, say, your standard Skitarii kit, it's not going to take much. We've talked about this more than once, I am sure. But it doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, realistically, you can do it without an upgrade kit, and all you need is a package of guitar strings, and you're pretty good to go. And a box of skulls.
I've gotten so much mileage out of a single package of guitar strings, let me tell you. I think it's a codex. I'm just gonna put it out there. Yes. I think this is a new army. A while ago, they previewed saying we are putting out the World Eaters.
Yep.
And they say, oh, it's going to take a while. Yep. Calm down, everyone. It's going to take a while. And we've already seen like 3 kits previewed. We know when the codex is coming out, roughly. Yeah. They've already like put it on the roadmap. It hasn't been that long ago. Right. Games Workshop, but the thing is also, like, we don't know what's after that.
Right.
Something has to be after that. And of course, there's going to be models for this campaign, but finishing this campaign with, well, here's the new army. Like, they need to have stuff coming, and I don't think that having an army of renown is going to cut it. I honestly believe, and maybe that's optimistic of me, but they put out squats. At this point, the sky's the limit. Who cares what I predict? It doesn't matter. Nothing I say is too optimistic anymore. Like,
there was a joke in the James Workshop video about Hrud, right? Was that what it was? Was it Hrud? No.
Maybe.
It was one of them.
Oh yeah.
It was just something out, like, why not?
Why not?
Let's go.
And the thing is, yes, reality's been shattered. Like, nothing makes sense anymore. Sure, let's do it. Let's just have some fun with it. And I honestly believe that's probably a good direction for Games Workshop to go. Yeah. I don't think having bloating codexes and armies in the way they've done with, say, the Eldaris or the Space Marines is the way to go for every army.
Right.
I think you're going to have like a Chaos, a Xenos or 2, and an Imperial or 2 be large armies, some of your classic, your pillars of 40k. But then, please, let us have Leagues of Votann. Let us have Exodites. Let us have Dark Mechanicum, and just go from there.
I would even settle for, I would settle for a Codex supplement if I had to. If I had to.
It's not.
I'm not going to be greedy.
No. It's not even greedy at this point. Like, they need to be doing something, so why not?
I have been talking about this for so long.
And that's the army that will be able to include Chaos Knights the same way Adeptus Mechanicus includes Imperial Knights in their rules. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, what's next after that? Why not Hrud? Why not Exodites? Yep. Why not cat people from space? I don't know. I don't care. I'll paint cat people in the 40k universe.
Yes.
It doesn't matter anymore.
It's just like, let's go. It's the best hobby.
But that's the thing. Like, I make it sound like I'm being dismissive. Like, oh, who cares? No, it's not. Who cares? Like, the whole point of this universe is that it's supposed to be so big, so varied that you can have a bunch of cool things, and it's nice that they're unshackling themselves and allowing themselves to do the cool thing.
The important thing is it's not 10th edition. That's the important part out of all of this.
I would rather... That's the thing. You were talking earlier about book bloat, and maybe we can sort of end on this, but you were talking about book bloat, and I don't care about book bloat. I don't mind them having a ton of different books. I care about buying the same book over and over again with slight changes in it. I don't want to buy another Tau Codex. I want them to add things to Tau if they do put out a new Tau Codex, I want it to be just a revised edition of what I've already have. And if I choose to buy it again, I'll buy it again because I'm lazy or it's a cute book. But I don't want a new edition to make me have to start over.
I mean, the book bloat was mostly referring to Psychic Awakening, where if you wanted the one unit or the one power or the one whatever, you had to buy the book.
Or like most people did, just not and find the rules elsewhere. Yeah, and they've mentioned that they heard us complain about this, and thank God, because that was not a good look for Games Workshop. That was a very that was a greedy approach to how to put out rules, and Games Workshop is supposed to be a models company, not a rules company.
I think one of my Psychic Awakening books is still in plastic. I'm pretty certain I have it on the shelf in plastic.
Do I even have one? I think I have like one or two, and I've cracked them open a couple of times. I think I bought the one that had rules for Tyrannus because I went, I guess I have to.
Exactly, and that is not what we want. We don't want to go, I guess we have to. We want more fun stuff.
From a marketing perspective, you never want a customer to go, because I have to. That is not a good way of having them come back. That is, again, how we start looking at the neighbors. It's... I'm not going to go into that analogy again.
No, please don't bring it back. Let that one go. But you're not wrong.
It's warming up to me. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I walked into this preview thinking I was going to be angry. You and I had talked before the show, like, how are we going to express this anger that is inevitably going to consume us? And no, we're walking out like a little bored at the beginning because neither of us are Imperial Guard players, but I'm happy for the Imperial Guard players I know.
You're happy because you're a Gene Stealer cult player, so don't pretend. You're happy.
Yeah, they're going to be converted. Yeah. But we're all walking out of this very optimistic for the future of what we've seen, and mostly it's the small comments and the choices they've made so far. And maybe like in 2 months they're gonna have another preview saying 10th edition and just cancel everything good I'm about to say. But it is nice to see what is coming from Games Workshop feel like we're being heard.
Yes.
As a community, as fans, as people are excited about the hobby and about the models and the company. It's nice to feel heard.
Exactly. Ooh, heck of a preview.
Yeah, of course you would think that.
I would. So that about wraps up this one. If you haven't already, you can check out our Warhammer Workshop podcast episode, which is also out today, available in both video and audio formats. Leave a
much angrier podcast.
It is a much angrier episode. Feel free to leave us comments. Check us out on all the socials, and we'll talk to you again soon.